Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Late Night DeFi, the podcast where we look into the evolving space of blockchain, cryptocurrencies, and decentralized business models, brought to you by EY and Blueshift, the decentralized exchange building on top of the Cardano Milkomida EVM sidechain. I am Igor Mikalev, partner and head of emerging technologies at EY Parthenon, calling in from Amsterdam, the Netherlands.
And I'm Peter Buey, part of the Blueshift team, calling in from Gold Coast, Australia.
In this episode, we will cover everything notable in DeFi and crypto that happened over the last few weeks. We analyzed the most interesting and recent crypto news and want to bring to your attention the takeaways that stood out for us the most. In this episode, we'll cover the three following topics: crypto, focusing on the Ethereum merge, NFTs, and the Metaverse.
So our first news item, the Ethereum merge ups the stakes and reshapes the crypto universe. What does this mean?
Yeah, good question what it means. As you saw, multiple investors, many people invested in Ethereum and they thought, hey, it's going to go immediately up. But apparently it's by the rumors, sell the news type of situation. So probably it was already priced in a long time ago and now just went down on the news and as well as on some of the rumors related to miners going astray and trying to establish and invest in different types of chains. Taking away with them a little bit of allegiance that they had to Ethereum. What do you think, Peter?
I have to say, from a technical point of view, the switch over from a proof of work to proof of stake was fairly seamless. Nothing really bad happened, and it seemed quite smooth from the perspective in that way.
Yeah, many people refer to it as an amazing feat of engineering, but well, you shouldn't forget that it was postponed a couple of times and it evolved into something really big over the few years. And although now we are in a proof of stake, still performance and scalability are pretty much the same as they used to be.
Yeah, that's right. And I think a lot of users are still confused about not being able to withdraw their staked ETH in the beacon chain, and users have to remember that locked ETH is still not available yet, and you may have to wait 6 months or even longer before that's available. So it's something just to keep in mind.
Yeah, absolutely. So all in all, the merge has happened, but it's just the beginning of a larger set of milestones for Ethereum. So you can only withdraw your stake ETH after a while, and it will start performing better only after the next major milestones, which will take at least half a year.
All right, so we'll see what happens. We'll sit back and we'll wait and see what comes next for the Ethereum blockchain.
Yes, sir. All right, and the next piece here is NFTs. Interesting news here around Sony, and Sony wants to, I think, establish for themselves a place in universe of NFTs. So they came out with a new trademark application for NFT-authenticated music.
That is really interesting. Now, I have no idea how this mechanic is going to work. Do you know much about it, Igor?
So I think what happens here is that Sony Music tries to, on one hand, raise their game in terms of being a future-proof producer of music and a future-proof network orchestrator in the world of music. And also they're trying to create this foundation of how does one authenticate their music in the future? How does one look at the set of standards related to IP associated with music and art? So I think it's a very smart play by Sony.
I guess this also comes into the Metaverse play where users can play music in the Metaverse. And I guess now Sony is trying to stamp down on the abuse of their music being played in virtual spaces and get that revenue that should be paid to them for the distribution and the playing of their music in different places. And now in metaverses, we're seeing a lot more of that happen. So I guess Sony is coming in for the royalties and the rights for all that as well.
Absolutely. Sounds like a no-brainer move for Sony.
So our next news item here is in the metaverse, and SFLMaven announced new metaverse stores items, including wedding wearables. Now, I've always found this whole metaverse wearables space quite interesting to watch and develop. We've seen Second Life, for example, start back in the late 2000s and have this huge ecosystems built around it for 3D modelers and people that are building assets in the games and selling and making a living out of it. So I'm not surprised that the major players and retailers are now entering into this metaverse space and building their own assets and selling it to users and whatnot through the ecosystem there.
Yeah, I think it's a very interesting move. And I think for companies like SFLMaven, it makes sense to think a little bit upfront in terms of what are the major real life events that people would want to bring into the metaverse. And clearly, before long, I'm sure people would like to get married in the metaverse. And well, surely you want to have some cool wearables in there, or maybe some composable NFTs related to wearables, because I think that's one of the, let's say, main highlights of one's life. So I think a smart move there again. And yeah, looking forward to seeing new weddings out in the digital space of the metaverse.
Would you get married in the metaverse, Igor?
Good question. I think it depends on how many guests come, what my bride would think about that, and what the traditional side of the world would say about that, like my parents, for example.
I guess maybe if your entire life revolved around the metaverse, it might be something that would happen. Or if you met in the metaverse or something really strange like that.
Yeah.
Or unique, interesting, modern like that.
Yeah, but honestly, I'm not sure to what extent adoption of metaverse will follow the current hype, because I think we are, as humans, we so much want to be in the world of smells and tactile and everything. And I think in the pure metaverse experience, where for now it's just at best a VR headset and sound, so many things are missing. So I think we are very much fueled by the hype, but let's see how and why would people transpose major life events into the world of the metaverse. Well, the next point on our agenda here is related to both the metaverse and NFTs. So Hermes reveals their plans for metaverse fashion shows, and they also want to connect it with their cryptos and NFTs, which is a cool move because, as far as I know, there was a lawsuit not so long ago around Meta Birkin's NFT collection, so the Birkin bags, and people using Hermes brands like, again, Birkin to make money from sales, so that at some point they became unhappy and probably started making a move on it by themselves. What do you think, Pete?
I think it is absolutely crazy. I think it's ridiculous. Like you go from counterfeit items made in, sweatshop factories around the world and being sold all the way now to digital assets, which can be replicated like really easily and sold in the metaverse. And now they're clamping down on that as well. It seems like, almost fan art that's being clamped down on in the metaverse. But I'm assuming these people are making thousands upon thousands of dollars, and Hermes wants action, part of that action now. That's all I can assume.
Absolutely. But I think it's a complex situation here because probably Hermes Birkin bags have become at some point iconic. So if something as iconic is being kind of carried away into the folklore of people trying to make custom NFT collections all by themselves because they appreciate the brand and maybe they don't even think about the owner because it's so prevalent now in the subculture, does it warrant a crackdown in terms of the licensing? I don't know.
When you put it that way, maybe it does. Maybe it does. You're leveraging off someone else's creativity to make money and make a living off. Maybe it does deserve the crackdown and the copyright laws applied to them as well.
Absolutely. So let's watch the space and see how the world of IP regulation evolves, because I think it's clear that we cannot apply it one-to-one from the traditional world to the world of metaverse, which evolves so quickly and needs a lot of collaboration.
Our next news item: Venice Immersive explores the metaverse as a new artistic medium. Now, this is a really interesting story and play where now you can experience concerts or plays in the metaverse. Now, we were talking a little bit earlier how it doesn't attack all the senses, but I think this is something that could be achievable with what they're trying to do, having a virtual play with VR headsets or something and making that possible, making that experience as good as possible.
Certainly, certainly. I saw several times already artists here in Amsterdam, particularly, coming out with interesting exhibitions that connect physical presence of different art objects with virtual presence and the metaverse by means of a headset. And I think this is something that definitely needs to be explored further, especially as we are getting used to the VR headsets and we are getting used to this augmented reality world. But all I know is surely contemporary art absolutely has place in this conundrum, in this connection between physical world and the virtual world. So really interesting move on the part of Venice exhibition. And I think we will see more in this domain during the years to come.
I personally think it's a really good thing. I just recall a memory of taking my daughter to an art exhibition. Particular work was an augmented reality piece where you had to pull out your phone, scan a QR code, and you'd have an interactive experience with it. And it really put a smile on her face. So having little things like that, I think, may be the future of how we see digital art and these immersive experiences. So I'm actually looking forward to it. And that's it for another episode of Late Night DeFi. Please make sure you give us that thumbs up, click subscribe, click the notification bell, or leave us a 5-star rating or review wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. So that's it for us for this time. Bye.
Bye, everybody.